Up only.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Up only.
Hello and welcome to Up Only TV. I'm Ledger, Cobie on the way. We got Path on the show. Y'all all know Path. Looking forward to having him. Before we get to it, let me tell you about FTX. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. You can make a trade directly from one asset to the other on the FTX app that you can get in any app store. Earn yield on your assets as well. You get 8% up to $10,000, 5% beyond $10,000. I learned a fun trick where you can actually even earn yield on your yield earning tokens. There's some cool stuff that you can do there in the FTX app. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. Of course, track your portfolio like you've known and loved. Let's get to the show. Cobie, what's up?
Hello, how you doing?
Good. I tried to mix it up that time. Did I do a good job?
He adds a little different thing in there about being able to do some clever stuff. What is the clever stuff you can do?
Yeah, shout out to my buddy Pat. But like, if there's a yield earning token, like the comp version of a stable coin, then like it kind of collects its little mini yield, and then you can earn yield in the FTX app at the same time. So I just spoiled the trick, so maybe they'll just turn it off.
Take all your yields.
Sorry, Pat.
Isn't that what a pyramid scheme is?
No, it's like, if you know how when you put something in a stable coin in, it's like, this is basically what your company does. It's like Lido. It's like liquid staking Ethereum. So you're calling Lido a pyramid?
Yeah, I thought that was a pyramid scheme. I thought we made like a really great pyramid scheme. People love pyramid schemes. Anyway, Path, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
I think you've been on more than anyone else ever.
As it should be.
Cool.
Is it like your fourth time?
Fourth, I think it's fourth, yeah.
Fourth, but you've never been on by yourself.
I was once, I think.
Yeah, he was.
Quite early on, very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like with Shams and stuff, no?
I can't remember.
No, there was an
Anyways,
episode that
anyway.
we named, maybe we were sexist and named it after Path, and then Shams was also on it. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Rob Swire was on it as well or something.
Yes.
You're right. I think that was the
Yeah.
one that was like named after Path, but we had other guests. So
Yeah, I think there was other people on there, so we might re-ask some questions because, like, I think that was when we didn't know what we were doing, and not much has changed. But those episodes, no one watched them, no one knew they were even happening. So we might re-ask some questions. Sorry to the 3 people that watched the previous one, in case they are were recycling content already. But welcome to the show. So for anyone that doesn't know Path. Path in the you were in crypto since like 2013, 2014, I guess.
Yep, 2013.
And in the 2017 cycle, became this sort of like demonic entity that could just tell the future, but only could tell the future like the next 6 weeks in advance. It's like you can see this small window to see in the future, and then at the top decided to use his powers for evil and released a chart called the Curse Chart, which was everything going to zero from 20k in like a single candle. And then it happened, and I think people blamed you.
Yeah.
I think people blamed you. But you've been in crypto, I guess, almost 10 years now. And you've been a trader. Yeah, almost 10 years, mate. And which is surprising because he's 12 years old.
Yeah. I feel ancient now, yeah.
But you've been a trader, and you've been like really early to a lot of trends. One of the trends was unfortunately Zcash, which we can talk about later.
It's still early.
Yes, it's still early. We're all early. But you were early to the NFT and like collecting trend as well, and a bunch of other stuff. So we got quite a lot of things to talk about. While we like was
Grimes.
chatting, we'll talk about Grimes as well. She's single now, mate. But we were chatting online in like, I don't know, in like 2013, 14, and you always had this like sort of scary looking profile picture. It was like an evil cartoon or something. And in my head, you were just this like guy who maybe was like a bit like socially awkward and maybe lived with like his brother or something. But in my head, you were like my age, and then it turned out like the whole time we were chatting, you were like fucking 12 or something.
Yeah, I started trading when I was 15, still in school.
Yeah, I traded when you were 15. That's fucking insane. So why did you even start trading? Like, how does this happen? You're a 15-year-old kid. You've like got into like Pokemon and like, you know, whatever normal 15-year-old kids do. And then one day you're like, I'm going to trade some shit coins. What happened to you, mate?
I wanted to make money online in like a quick, easy way. I didn't know anything about trading. I bought Bitcoin early 2013 when I heard about it. Well, I'd heard about it earlier than that, but I didn't have any money to get into it. So eventually, like, I convinced my mum to let me buy some. And then, yeah, all went off from there. I held Bitcoin for a while, and then end of 2013, started trading altcoins, and then that led into the whole crypto Twitter thing. Yeah, now here we are.
So you just wanted some money. Do you remember what you were trying to buy?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't think I wanted to get a normal job. That was it. I was just very lazy. I was like, okay, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, society seems like a scam. How do I get rid of that?
Wait, so did you ever have a job, like at all?
No.
Wow, that's awesome.
You've never had a job ever?
Well, I do volunteering and stuff.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I've
can
not had
leave.
like a proper. Yeah.
So you've been retired. You went straight from like just a child to retired.
Yeah.
So you were basically a teen executive before teen executive was teen executive.
Yes.
I feel
And
like
you
we
said
need
your
to have,
mom-
But hold on though. I feel like we gotta have teen executive back on and like have a little come to Jesus moment. Like I feel like he got that crypto Cobain high, and then he needs to like be brought down. You know, like he was the cool kid at school all of a sudden, and like we need to have him on and teach him a lesson. Like he did all kinds of goofy stuff after that. So I haven't checked him.
I think like he's actually a child, so you just gotta let him do his thing. gotta let him make his mistakes and shit, you know. I don't think he wants to come on here and be taught a lesson by boomer status. Like, sounds a bit weird and threatening, mate. It's like,
Okay.
well, let's invite a fucking teenager back on to teach him a lesson. You can do it on your own podcast, like a different thing. Like, I'm not involved with that.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not involved with that shit.
Well taken.
But you said your mum lent you the money to buy.
Well, it was birthday money, but like I didn't have a credit card, or I didn't have like a bank account I could use to buy things online, so I had to go through that.
So your entire portfolio is technically currently loaned from your mum.
Yeah.
All right, but I guess you took the loan in like British pounds, so you're good. You can pay that back easy. Yeah, fair enough. Did you buy some for your mum?
No, she very, very recently got her first crypto, actually.
No.
What? You rugged your own mum?
Well, I take care of her. It's all right.
Fair enough. So you got into it. You were a kid. You were at school. You decided to trade, and you just like wanted to opt out of society. I understand that. But how did you learn that you were good? How did you know that you had the like? Or were you bad at first? Who knows? Maybe you sucked for a bit.
Yeah, so I bought Bitcoin on the run up early 2013. I was watching it most of the way because I first saw it trading at like $10 or so. I didn't get in until it was like 100, and then it went to like 250 that week, and I was just like, I was very in a trance looking at the chart all day. So it's like, wow, these price movements are crazy. And then it crashed from like 250 down to $50. So like immediately I've had this whole the whole swing. And then it didn't really do much for the rest of the year. I didn't pay that much attention to it. And then towards the end of the year, the Silk Road went down. And then it bounced back.
Did you understand what Silk Road was?
Yes.
I guess you're only 15, right?
Yeah.
You got 5, yeah, fair enough. 15, like you're relatively capable.
But yeah, and then after that, so altcoins sort of became a thing for the first time through like BTC and Cryptsy. So I traded on there. I traded Litecoin. I like 10x my portfolio, I think, more or less. And then I put it all into like Quartcoin at the top. And yeah, thanks to Bill Still and all that. And then I held that for a long, long time. And that was my first like big mistake. I learned my lesson not to bag hold things.
Wait, you bought my Quark from me? Thanks,
Yeah,
mate.
probably. You're welcome. Yeah.
Quark was my first like real successful trade. That was your first that I got dumped
So
on.
the part that you're
there we
talking
go.
about was in here.
Yeah, yeah.
This
So
is-
I got in about $100 on that run up, which is like it literally just
So,
went
like,
up
right here.
only. Yeah,
It's like
just
two-
green
like
candles
2 weeks.
forever.
Okay, so you bought it $100, and
then
you like
Yeah, you
lived
have
through
that
this
absolutely
whipsaw.
huge. Yeah, that's like the biggest red candle in history from top to bottom. It's like 80% decline or something.
It was all in 1 week.
Yeah, it's 3 days.
Yeah, and then this was like some kind of alt season, basically.
No, nothing happened.
Oh, okay. It's just
Don't
boring.
know what's happened at the end. So when it takes off late 2013, that's when altcoins sort of
altcoins were in here.
Yeah, because before
Yeah,
that,
I think the only
Litecoin
alts
was the
back
only
then
one.
were like Feathercoin and Novacoin and Namecoin and shit, weren't they?
Yeah, everything like was on BTC,
Yeah.
and then like Crypto came along, and then people started trading like the proper shit coins. And
Like WorldCoin.
That really is an incredible drop. Where people are spoiled now, you know.
yeah,
80%.
people be jumping off the building if that happens.
The thing is, when that happens, that's happening without anyone getting liquidated. Cause
Yeah, there was no
like,
leverage.
yeah, there was zero leverage in the system. So it was like, that's just people going, oh, it's down 80%. I better fucking sell. I'm getting out before it goes to zero. That was just people actually voluntarily selling the bottom.
It's crazy.
But I remember it back then. It wasn't like now where you had it always goes back up, sort of historic data and like institutions and shit buying. Back then it was like, this is like an internet experiment that is primarily used for drugs. And at any moment it might actually just go straight to zero.
Yeah, because Mt. Gox was like the only big exchange back then, and like a big reason that crash happened is because Mt. Gox just couldn't function at all. Like none of the orders were going through.
Books just went away.
Yeah.
And the following run-up then was Mt. Gox turning on the Willy bot for the first time, I guess. Trying to buy back as much of the Bitcoin as they could that they owed their customers. All right, so you made your big mistake on Quark and lost most of your portfolio. How did you gain the conviction that this was going to remain to be a thing through, I guess, what was your first bear market of like post Mt. Gox 2014, everything just going to zero, or was it desperation?
Maybe a bit of desperation, but altcoins were still doing quite well in 2014. It was like Max Coin that you launched. I did pretty well on that.
Better than me.
Yeah, so even though Bitcoin was in a bear market, mostly because of Mt. Gox, altcoins are still doing really well, most of the way down. And so I ended up, so this is back in the MintPal days, things would they'd get listed on some really shitty exchange, and then they'd go onto MintPal, and MintPal would it would pump them on the listing, and then if you waited a week, they'd pump again afterwards. Because MintPal was like the premier place.
I feel like once a month, Cobie just like speaks longingly of MintPal. Like I just wish we could have
MintPal
MintPal.
was
Nostalgia.
MintPal was the glory days, and Pat, I don't know if you think it's the same, but the thing is about now, and maybe every cycle since, it hasn't been possible to ride every single pump. In the MintPal days, things pumped one at a time. It wasn't like the whole market together. It wasn't like correlation of assets. It was like, right, well, you know, black coin has gone up, which was an actual coin that was like very popular at the time. So after black coin, white coin went up. It was great. It was just like, all right, well, that one's gone up, so we sell that one, and we just like, what's the next one? And as long as you like were ahead of the like general population on what the next one might be, like had some good ideas for it, and you were like totally fine. You could ride every single one. Whereas now everything's super correlated. Like there's a little bit of it this time actually, where like Solana goes turbo and decorrelates, and Axies does it as well. And
they're all very high cap.
Ecosystem. Sorry, what you say?
They're all very high cap, the ones that sort of move one at a time. But I get the sort of same MintPal feeling from NFTs. I think you can do it with them. I think you can rotate one to the other. So
Yeah, that is true. But with MintPal, the main difference with NFTs is they would go up and that was it. It was fucking done. It was like, it goes up and then that's done forever. No one ever buys it again because it was like, nah, we traded that one 3 months ago. We're not trading that again. Whereas NFTs, they just seem to just go back to them. They're like, that's popular. Oh, it's popular again.
You say that, Cobie, but you would probably believe this. I actually bought Blackcoin in 2017. Off
What?
Yeah, it's like it was going to be the resurgence of Blackcoin. Like the chart looked good in some capacity. Like it was probably like news or somebody went and bought like a little bit of it and it made this candle. So I was like, oh, that looks good. I'm gonna buy that. And then I got like my generation of kind of people, Crypto Bully and Dale and some of them. I was like, look at this Blackcoin chart, looks good. And then like 2 days later, it tanked, and they were like, are you holding your Blackcoin? I was like, nah, man, I held it for like 12 hours. So I already dumped on them. So,
I always really remember Blackcoin because I think it was like one of the best.
Yeah, it was like the most legendary pump because it went like 10x in like 3 days, and then it went straight back down 90% instantly.
Yeah, I missed the whole fucking thing. It was like the greatest pumps that ever happened in Mint Pal era. I missed the whole thing, and I felt so good when it dumped back down because I didn't have to cope anymore. I was like, people are not going to keep talking about this now.
Well, see, that's what made the chart look good in 2017 because it's like it could still 10x and not even be at all-time high. From back when
but mate, it was just a coin that was named after a color.
I know. I was an idiot. I mean,
they had some weird proof of stake thing that like it was all gimmicks back then. There were no like real developments.
Yeah. And like I guess because smart contract chains didn't exist yet, so everyone was rebuilding Bitcoin with like slight variations in like consensus mechanism or hashing algorithm. Maybe that's just a subset of the previous one actually. All those kind of things, and like they're just not novel enough as changes to ever really matter. Like Bitcoin doesn't win because it uses like SHA-256 or whatever versus SHA-3. So yeah, I guess it taught people around from our era that you don't hold something longer than the first pump. Like Blackcoin, it goes 1,000,000% in 3 days, and then it goes to zero and it just sometimes takes longer to get to zero. How do you think that's impacted like your approach to trading? Do you get like PTSD when something doesn't reach your target and it starts going down?
Yeah, sometimes I let go of things quite early, which is a shame. But then I think I definitely still can have conviction when I want to, like something on Zcash, or like, see that one hasn't done so well. But like Ethereum, for example, I've held that. I was accumulating that all through 2019, and like I've kept all of that, and it's done quite well. Yeah, so it's not affected me too badly, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like on the ones where you can manage to build conviction yourself, because you recognize things are a little bit different now. It's easy to like change that mindset. The reason it's really really hasn't like I've been taught the wrong things are on like NFTs or like speculative new things where you don't have that long to really look into it, and you're just like trading the chart, and the chart looks terrible, and you're like, cool, I'm out, and you're like, that was a great trade. You look at it 3 weeks later and it's like, and you're like, huh? Wait, that's not what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to go to zero now.
That's why you footed me out of my Meebit. You're like, your Meebit's going to zero, and it went like,
no, bro, I told you to sell the Meebit on day one. Yeah. you waited till the resurgence to sell it at the very beginning of the resurgence. That was yeah. So let's talk about ETH and Zcash, because obviously you were like a stack sats type trader. Like I guess we all were. We trade whatever moved in order to accumulate more Bitcoin. You said in 2019 you've been accumulating Ethereum, and you also had high conviction on Zcash, maybe infamously.
Yes.
Well, I think Gainsey when he said Zoddle.
Oh, that was over.
He cursed it forever. Why did you make this shift to thinking to like accumulating Ethereum, and why did you give yourself the opportunity cost losses of holding Zcash?
Okay, right. So Ethereum, I missed the ICO because I kind of got fitted out of it, but whatever. And then I did sort of have the PTSD pump thing early on. So like I had a lot of Ethereum back in the day, but I sold it quite early in its first pump because I was really just trading momentum. And then I missed most of it in 2017. I was like, oh my God, how did I ended up in Zcash instead of ETH or something? It was like disastrous. So this time around, I'm like, well, people are still using ETH. It's still very popular. Like, it still has all this potential. And like, I was looking to NFTs at the time as well. So I was looking through like the ETH ecosystem. I was like, well, this thing's still around. People still use it, and it's down. It was down like 90% or something. Well, Bitcoin was only down like 50% or whatever. So I'm like, well, it makes a lot more sense risk reward wise. Like, if like Ethereum should outperform Bitcoin this season. So, and it did. So I was right on that. But yeah, I waited quite a while because Ethereum was bleeding for a long, long time. To start building a position, and I started around like 140, and it dipped to like I think 110, and then it had that pre-COVID pump to like 240 or whatever, and I was like, oh wow, this is it, and then it crashed to 90. But I held, and yeah, still holding most of it now, and it's growing. It's growing as expected. The burning, that's a huge thing, I think. So there's all these like ETH competitor chains like Solana and that, and but a lot of the draw to them is the low fees. But it's actually a negative because if people are paying to use the network, they're not actually supporting the network. Anyway, if they're paying these fees, and that's what you want, that's what you need to get, that's what's hard to get. That sort of expenditure, because that supports the ecosystem. That means it's going to be around for a long time. Yeah, so Ledger's pulled it up.
So you're saying the lack of usability of Ethereum by most normal people is bullish?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, you're paying for the security, and the fact you actually want to pay for it is good because it supports the security of the system. And that doesn't happen on the other chains, right? So like your coin is worth something because it's becoming more scarce on ETH, right? People need ETH to transact. Right, but that's not happening on the other chains. It's all speculative on the other chains until they start burning more like ETH is. Yeah, and then, sorry, go on.
Do you think the two-layer concept that both Bitcoin and ETH are adopting, and layer one's basically like the rich person's settlement layer, but giving the outlet of layer two where anybody can operate, do you think that makes it bullish to where you're still burning a bunch of ETH because it all settles back on layer one, but you're also giving that usability outlet to everyone else that can't afford to be on layer one?
Yeah. So it'll be great for everyone, I think. We'll see exactly how it plays out in terms of how high the fees still are. Like because I think layer two over the next couple of years, there's a lot of volume is going to shift that way. So we'll see how it actually plays out in practice, but I'm confident.
Wow.
All right, let's talk about the ETH and like all ETH compares in a moment, and a little more on this high fees bullish point, because you're not getting out of the Zcash question, unfortunately.
I was getting to it. Yeah.
Go ahead and pull that chart up too. It looks fine.
Can you just do
Zcash
Zcash versus Bitcoin maybe?
Yeah. If it looks fine. If it was like a stock, it's like, oh yeah, that's just slowly going. It's fine. Until you do, look at that! It went away. Like, I guess it was down.
That's actually the best performing period in history.
I don't know what happened on Bittrex there. I was already trying to prepare for showing this. I don't know what happened to it. I'll find a different one. But it's not good.
That is truly down only.
Yeah, and that's in log, so it gets better in linear.
I'll put in linear for us.
There we go.
Well, it looks worse in log. Well, it's just on the it's dead. It's just the it's dead pattern, in it.
You have to. There you go. Let's make it look the worst possible distance. There.
Good. Love it.
It looks like a volcano or something.
Volcano.
As to climb a mountain, it's just. That's exactly what you want your chart to look like, but flipped.
Yeah. I made a really stupid tweet back here, and I drew a picture of Zuko inside this pattern and called it the ugliest head and shoulders or something ever. And then it's just created a Gumby arm out of it forever since then. Yeah,
you've cursed it.
Didn't actually think that was possible.
So how did you end up with a ton of conviction that this was going to do well?
So before it even launched, I really liked it because it was originally called ZeroCoin or the ZeroCoin Protocol or something. They've been working on it since 2011 because Zuko's a very intelligent cryptographer. I think Satoshi even talked to him back in the day.
Isn't he credited in the white paper?
I think he is, yes. Yeah. But yeah, so you had Zuko working on it, and then you also had it was funded by Amazon, by DARPA, by U.S. military, one very influential tax evading family in the US. But yeah, so you have all these people who are clearly interested in using ZK Snarks as a technology. And that's what it is really. It's like, well, it's like Bitcoin, but better because it has this functionality of like completely private transactions, more so than any other coin. So anon coins were very, very big back when altcoins first came out. So like Dark Coin, Dash. Now. Yes, that was one of the biggest altcoins back in the day, and there was a huge along with Monero as well, like there was a big focus on private transactions because back then most people still use Bitcoin for buying drugs and so on, so people wanted private transactions, and they weren't too worried about the regulatory stuff. So in my mind it was like, well, Zcash is coming along and it's like actually like perfect in terms of privacy, so it made a lot of sense that this would be the next big thing. And it's got a very heavy inflation. But we're actually it's so old now. It's like five years it's been, so it's gone past its first halving already. Like more than half the supply is out there, so the supply is getting like bearable. It's slowing down, but the decline is slowing down.
Do we know what Zuku's current salary is with the current inflation rate?
So I don't think they get the block reward anymore. I think that ended on the halving. But
that was probably smart.
Yeah.
Is it bad that when I put the price thing on here, I was like, oh, it's only down 98.6%. I thought it was more than that. And then I realized there's all this stuff to the left of the chart still. So it's like, go way.
That's just the listing. That's just the listing.
Yeah. So they had a slow start when they listed, so there weren't really any coins in circulation for the first like month or so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just like doing the 99.97%. It's all that high. What?
Yeah, that's nuts. I remember the early days, like before it launched, it was like the most hyped fucking coin launch, like maybe ever. I think everyone had that similar sort of anarchistic privacy, like Bitcoin with privacy is just a better Bitcoin view. And everyone was so excited for it to the point where everyone got scammed by what? Do you remember his name? Was it like
Method? Yeah. Well, Meth. His name was Meth, right? And it was but he had sort of a reputation in the community. He'd been around since like 2011, so we all assumed this guy was pretty well off. But no, he just scammed everyone on mining contracts and ran away. Yeah, and we had someone go to where his office was. Like all the mining stuff, and it existed. You can get in, but yeah, we never found him. So we ran off with people's money. He was going to mine Zcash for us, and then there was also another. There were loads of other like startups. So I think Genesis did Zcash mining, and there's people. The Tumin brothers did it, and like basically everyone lost money on mining, unless you like sold the very top in the altcoin season in 2017. You lost money on Zcash.
Yeah, I remember I traded Zcash in 2017 because was it like lagging or was it first? I don't remember.
It went quite early. It had huge pumps. It had like individual days where it like tripled or something. Yeah. There was news about some bank was interested in using it. So yeah, if you bought at like a reasonable price, because it just bled because of the slow start, it bled. So if you waited for it to get to like a decent price and you started buying some, then you did all right back then. But yeah, in terms of like opportunity cost, it's been pretty awful.
Is it bad that I want to buy this just looking at the USD?
Yes,
chart?
Mate. We've learned that when you want to buy stuff, it's always bad. You wanted to buy Blackcoin when the chart looked like that, didn't you?
Yeah. It just looks like it wants to do something. I always get trapped by Zcash though.
But you maintained this bullishness even into this cycle.
Well, yeah, I've had a position. It's not been like a huge amount of my portfolio. I don't hold things that go against me constantly. Or if I do, it's like I'm not adding to it. So I didn't add to the position I already had. Yeah.
And are you like, it's dead to me now?
No, I like it. I'm confident in the technology. There's stuff like Mina that's come out that uses the same. They use the same ZK snarks, and they're very it's interesting.
All right.
People were shilling Mina in the chat when we were talking about ZK stuff the other day. I'm still pretty confused about how ZK came about in Zcash when it was always just talking about how slow it is, how difficult to compute it is, and now ZK is also like what's going to make Ethereum fast, and like what makes, I guess, Mina fast or whatever other ZK solutions there are. Do you know the answer to that?
So it's like moon math. It's like extremely complicated. So no, I don't really know the answer to it. Which is why it took so long for people like Zico created this thing. He worked on it for years and years, right? It's taken forever to get it working. And yeah.
So we're all just fudding like this incredible technological breakthrough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was like an incredible, like a really, really important technological breakthrough that had terrible tokenomics. And like ZK Snarks on Ethereum is so much more useful than it on Bitcoin, which is, I guess, just unfortunate. But oh well. Do you ever talk to Zuku? Sometimes I try and message him, but he never replies.
He's followed and unfollowed me over the years. So
I like that. Do you remember when he did the tweet about groceries?
I love it. Yeah, people give him too much shit for that. He's just he's appreciating the wealth he's gotten, right?
Yeah.
He's not bragging about it. But
he basically was like, I can afford to go to Whole Foods or something, right? And eat meat.
Yeah, it was a tweet about being grateful while he was receiving like millions of dollars a day in Zcash emissions. All right, so we were talking a bit about. I didn't want to let you get out of talking about Zcash, but I'll let you off. They're doing they're moving to proof of stake and shit, aren't they?
Yes.
Wait, that's real?
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, so if you say real bearish shit now, the up only curse might make Zcash go up. They're doing a bunch of stuff now, so that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I hope it pumps one day, just for you and Gainsey's sake.
Gainsey helped
I don't know, probably not. He's got paper hands, don't he, Gainsey?
His hands are more than paper. They're like toilet paper. They're like designed to disintegrate.
Yeah, like foam or something. Speaking of chatting to the founders of popular crypto protocols, you had a nice back and forth with Arthur from Tezos not long ago. Yes. Do you want to sort of summarize for anyone that don't know what I'm on about?
So I was quite there's lots of NFTs on Tezos. They did a sort of marketing thing where they're like, hey, come and use our platform because we're not killing the environment, which is a whole other discussion. We won't get into that. So they were marketing that, and they have a big platform called HEN, which stands for Hic Ek Nunc, which is an awful name.
I've never heard anyone say that out loud. Hic Ek Nunc.
Yeah, something like, I don't know how you say it. It might be French. So it's a really good NFT platform. There's a huge community around it. It's really cheap to mint on. You have the whole thing where it's like not killing the environment. And things are quite cheap on there as well compared to ETH. There's no fees really. So it's really good to buy out on there. I do a lot. I've been doing a lot of collecting over the last year on there. But I was saying, I think it's dangerous because Tezos, I invested in the ICO and the price has done absolutely nothing for years. It's been like Zcash until quite recently. It's doing okay because Hen is carrying the entire ecosystem on its back. And my complaint was like, well, you need to be careful on Tezos because the chain's basically dead. The art activity isn't enough to support it because these people, they're there because they don't want to pay fees, which means they won't, like I was saying about ETH earlier, people will actually pay for ETH transactions because they care about it and it's a secure network, whereas Tezos doesn't have that. Tezos only has free riders. So it's about the Tezos chain itself. The treasury for Tezos, they have quite a lot of money, so they can support it for a while. But I think it's there have been in the past on ETH as well, some platforms, some NFT platforms have faded into nothing, they've disappeared. So it's just about the longevity of it. You need to be careful about the chain still existing. I think it's unlikely Tezos will die at some point, but you need to be aware. Most chains have died. Most coins that are made they fade away and they die. So Tezos isn't immune to that. ETH is a lot safer to mint your work on if you want it to be permanent. But I think realistically, you're probably okay. I'm probably being a bit too worried in these tweets from when are they? Back in May. I think you're right.
The founder of Tezos had something to say about this, didn't he?
Yeah, he was pretty upset.
I can't find his responses. But nevertheless,
I think he quote tweeted.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So scam.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the fee component of that. So would it not be made up for in like total usage of the protocol, or would that actually just negate the speed elements? Like, isn't the whole point of these that they can handle enough transactions and then that there's a balance between a whole lot of transactions and low fees that ends up being a large enough sum of small fees that makes it sustainable? Isn't that the idea, or am I missing something there?
Well, the miners still need fees in order to like continue supporting the network, and like so Tezos works with a baking thing. I think it's similar to what ETH is adopting. You get like 7%, or it's a variable amount per year. It depends how many people are staking. So you have quite heavy inflation on it, more so than like ETH or anything. But like nothing's being burned, so the value of Tezos, like Tezos as an investment, isn't great, really.
I see. So it's still got that like oil problem or whatever, where you can always get more. It used to be, Bitcoin is gold, ETH is oil, and ETH's kind of fixing that by making it harder to create inflation because they're burning.
I found the thread. You said the thing that you've just shared, like artists building on Tezos should be aware about long-term integrity. Marketing a proof-of-stake ghost chain as eco-friendly draws in a lot of artists who aren't aware of trade-offs. H equals N is a great platform, but could fade to nothing in a bear market if it's not looked after. And then he told you, won't someone tell all the artists building on the most active NFT art marketplace that this is a ghost chain? We are haunting ETH shills rent-free since 2017. And my favorite thing about this is you just responded to him and was like, Tezos is only attracting people who can't afford other chains. It's a free rider problem. Arthur, I'm allocating 5% of treasury rewards to harassing you on Twitter.
Well, that's another thing. Bakers are really unhappy because they haven't really done anything with their money for a long, long time. So, yeah.
I mean, you don't think as well. Maybe you should machine learn how to keep your investors happy. Brutal.
I know a couple of bakers that actually either shut down or are in process of shutting down because it became financially unstable. Or disincentivizing at a bare minimum.
Tezos has done very well with this specific like niche though, and it's pretty cool that there's actually now different categories of stuff you can do in crypto rather than just get rugged on Cryptsy. And they have done really, really, really well at this specifically. How do you see the ETH versus alternative smart contract chain future, where you have, I guess, chains like Tezos going after a very specific niche? They want to capitalize on the NFT trend and be sort of the NFT chain for climate conscious or people who can't afford fees or whatever. And then you've got Avalanche and Phantom and stuff doing these big sort of DeFi incentivization that will pay you to come rug on our chain type things. You got, Solana, who doing like non-EVM stuff, building like highly scalable platform. You've got layer 2s on ETH, and then you've got DeFi on Bitcoin, which I've heard about but I've never seen.
Sovereign, I think, is the Bitcoin DeFi.
Sovereign and Stacks.
Yeah, so I tried using that a bit. I'm not an expert on DeFi, so I won't comment on that too much. But with NFTs, Tezos is definitely the second best chain compared to ETH, like overall for NFTs. It might even have more users actually because of how like the low fees, like that really attracts a lot of people. It's really good. Hen has a great ecosystem. You've got so many different artists on there. It's really easy to go on, put your art on there. Really easy to get it out. And it's like the Hen site itself, it supports a lot of different styles of art. Like this, you can actually have like a whole like program on there in so Ledger's got it up now. You have some animations. If you go onto my collection, if you can find that, there's some really interesting artworks. So like you won't see them on ETH, but like you can have like numbers.
This is the worst named website I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It amazes me.
But yeah, you can have like entire like programs as artworks, and you can sell like editions of those.
So like each of these is essentially like an iframe or something of whatever kind of code it
An
wants to run.
iframe.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like it's like a little code pen environment. If y'all remember what those are.
So the site itself is quite bare bones, but then the community have built like extra sort of additions like UIs onto the site. So it's easy to use like through community tools instead. Yeah, there's a huge community around it. It's great. I think if
Someone
you're a
in
new
the
artist
chat
and you
said,
can't,
how can you say Tezos has the second best NFT chain when Solana exists?
nothing like, okay, this is actual art, okay?
Oh,
Solana,
go.
there's no actual art on Solana. It's all just like generative rug pulls. It's not. They're not
They've
good.
got like apes and toads and shit.
Yeah, no one like those won't be around forever. They'll fade into nothing. They're shit. Right, Tezos has like an actual ecosystem, and it's cool. It's like interesting, right? Everything on Solana and BNB and all these other chains, they don't have good NFTs for the most part. They don't have like actual artists.
Somehow you're gonna manage to piss off the founders of Tezos and the founders of Solana.
Well, it's not the founders' fault, is it?
All right, so you reckon that's got the best one for NFTs, but how do you see the future of alternative layer ones playing out if you're worried about this free rider problem on Tezos? Do you think that it sustains itself as just like a minority chain? Do you believe in a multi-chain future? Do you think Ethereum is Amazon?
There's probably enough speculative demand to keep Tezos going for now. Like it's held a price floor for quite a while. Yeah, so I think it'll be all right as long as like NFT is doing well, which they seem to be. Yeah, I think Tezos is fine. The price is actually it hit I think it hit an all-time high the other day.
It did.
Which
For a minute. I got scared of it and ran away. What do you think about these editions style NFTs versus one of ones?
I want to talk about that actually. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So when you mint editions, because you sort of distribute it to a lot of people, the way the market cap of something, it can end up going a lot higher because people they'll buy one edition and be like, okay, now I own this artwork, and then if there's like 100 editions, there'll be 100 people like that, and like to them it'll be like a relatively small amount, and so the price would have to go significantly higher for them to want to sell it. Whereas if it was just one and the price still did the same thing like that person, like unless it was very, very dear to them, they'd probably get rid of it like if you gave them like a decent offer. Whereas like because it would probably be like a larger amount of their portfolio, and like yeah, there is a sort of a unit bias as well with NFTs and with editions and stuff. And it's interesting how so having editions is kind of similar to fractionalizing it really, but it's not exactly. It's really interesting playing around with these things and like seeing like what creates like the largest market cap for an artwork and.
How does it affect the liquidity overall? Like if you own
liquidity is a
one,
lot better if there's additions, yeah.
Because if you own one and there's a market price, you can just lower the market price and it almost creates more like an order book system, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas like with a one of one, it's a lot harder because it might be a more expensive piece, and then you have to like go and find someone else who wants to buy that entire piece, right? Yeah.
Is that a more popular way to sell on the Tezos?
Yes, most people do editions on Hen. Yeah. So the window ones you can see on there, those are the most popular ones. Those are John's.
A window one? Oh, like this?
Yeah, that's not his. That's like a
Copycat.
Yeah, well, it's sort of homage to him. Yeah, it's like inspired. But yeah, his one's he has some he's the biggest artist on Tezos.
Oh, jeez, I made it.
So, but he does like editions of 25, and one of them sold for $130,000 the other day to Kevin Rose.
Wow.
So that's like of that 25.
He'll buy anything.
Yeah.
Isn't he the guy that bought your honorary Bored Ape?
Yeah. No,
Didn't he list it for the exact same price he bought it?
Yeah, I think he realized it doesn't carry the value he thought.
If I'm being honest, I would not want to have a Ledger status profile picture. Not offense or anything. I'm just not Ledger status. It's weird to buy someone else's honorary profile picture.
Well, it was just a little L on the forehead, which maybe I should carry one of those more often.
Don't worry, mate. You do. All right, let's not dunk on Kevin too much because I'd like him to come on here and talk about why he decided to buy it.
But he's ignored my more recent messages, and I think I don't know. It may have.
Yeah, I'll have to
something
contact him.
it.
I'll have to contact him. He doesn't like you anymore.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I told him straight up. I was like, whatever. If you want to buy it, I'd love to sell it to you.
So you were pretty early to the NFT trend. A lot of my early NFT trades were just like, Path, I fucking hate this. Can you but I don't want to be coping. So can you just tell me what to do? And you told me Punks, Axies, and Urbit. And I went all in on Urbit and ignored the other two. I'm just kidding. How did you know Punks and Axies were like two of the two? Because this was like back in like December or January or something. And why is Urbit sucked?
I was doing it right now, actually. We'll get to that. So I've been into collecting stuff for a little while. In 2018, after Bitcoin crashed, I was like, well, I kind of want to look at other industries where I could make money. And I went into like CSGO skins. And I started collecting those. And I was like, well, this is really interesting. They're like digital collectibles. People spend like, my generation spend a lot of time gaming and at home. So it makes more sense that they'd spend money on those things if they wanted to flex or if they wanted to collect something. I thought they were very undervalued, and they've gone up quite a lot. And then after spending quite a lot of time collecting those, I was away from crypto for a bit on Twitter. And then I came back and I was like, well, okay, NFTs kind of make a lot more sense to me now. Because when NFTs first came out with ETH in like 2017, 2018, you had like the whole CryptoKitties things. CryptoKitties, they weren't scarce because you could just keep breeding them. And then the other stuff didn't really take off. Like I was aware of there was one called Marble Cards. I thought they were quite cool, but like no one was really interested in them. And then you had, even before that, on Counterparty, you had Rare Pepes, which again, like they just never really caught on. But then late last year, Punk started to like properly catch on. And like the price started going up, and more people were buying them. People talk about it on Twitter. So I was like, okay, well, it makes a lot of sense that like this will be like the premier NFT to have, because like they're quite old. They're one of the first 721s. I think the format was like made for them, basically. And yeah, it made a lot of sense that they were like the status symbol that like you'd have. And even now, I think they'll keep that. They're probably like, if you're going to buy any NFT that's just a collection that doesn't necessarily do anything, that's the one you go for, right? I think that's very safe compared to like Bored Apes or whatever the new ones are. Like I think it makes a lot more sense to own a CryptoPunk. And like even
in terms of ones that have already done really, really well, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be more stable. Like, yeah.
Yeah, they have that sort of like number one spot secured for like their niche. Yeah. And yeah, even against ETH, I think it's probably not the worst price to buy at. Like, yeah, because like this format, like NFTs will probably be around forever, like the rest of our lives. So I think, yeah, even at this price, they're a good buy.
The floor is like 117, 118 ETH right now.
Yeah. And then Axies. So Axie Infinity is it's a game. It's like a metaverse game. You own like your own characters. They're like Pokemon. You fight them against other things, and then you can play to earn a currency, SLP, and then that currency is used to perform actions in the game like breeding and other stuff. So you can sell this to other people. And what's happened is in a lot of countries, it's better to play these games than it is to just go and get a job normally. So you make more money online playing these things. And that sort of existed through like if you ever like farm gold on like RuneScape or World of Warcraft or something, there's a lot of places where like it was a higher wage to do that rather than like go and take a minimum wage job. So it creates a sort of like a global like floor for a wage when people like they're able to go and do this. So like especially in like the Philippines, yeah, people absolutely love it. And yeah, it's taking off as like a game. And you can own land in it. So I own some land in it. And you can own AXS, which is like shares for the marketplace. The marketplace does like $30 million in volume every single day. And I think it's 4% of that gets put into like a treasury. And then that treasury pays out to the AXS holders. And like in terms of like the P to E ratio, it's second only to ETH, like in terms of like burned. Yeah, it's insane. It actually generates revenue, right? It's actually working.
When you say like I own some land in that, it makes me think like You own half the land in that.
I own a Genesis block. The floor for that is like 700 ETH, I think now.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, so like in a twisted way, there's just loads of people working for basically minimum wage in the Philippines for you.
Yep.
Yeah, so they get paid by
Great.
like richer players. Well, it's not that, it's higher than that minimum wage in the Philippines, right? They get multiple of that. Yeah, they earn decent money. But there's also like scholarship programs and stuff. So people who own the Axies, they'll rent it out to people who play with the Axie, and then like they'll be able to, if they can't afford an Axie themselves, they'll borrow one, they'll play with it, they'll get most of the money they earn, and then some of that goes to the company. Yeah, so there's this whole ecosystem, this whole industry appearing around these games, these metaverse games. And Axie is the first one.
I can't believe you're a digital slumlord.
Gainsy's upset with us.
He's always upset. It'll be fine. So I guess a more like direct or actionable question for people watching is like, how do people play NFTs today? Because it seems like what's popular at the moment is there's a bunch of mints happen, and then like an animal is selected at random, like with no sort of like art style quality considerations, no like nothing. It's just like it could even be the same animal. So you could have like happy hippos and the next day hungry hippos. Probably not that you'll get copyright, but like it just seems like there's one of them and the floor price is like 0.02 ETH, and then 2 months later the floor price is like 250 ETH.
Well, think about this.
And then you never hear about it again. That's it. It's gone.
Just cats.
Like,
there's cool cats, gutter cats, cup cats. That's just
yeah,
cats.
like cats and dogs,
too
they're
many.
popular, but dogs have not done well because of dog money. Like dog NFTs have not done well because there's dog coins already. It's all very complicated, mate. So like as a like a viewer, someone that for some reason has decided to tune into this, how should they be like approaching NFTs today, especially with like the profile picture that are NFTs, all this like stuff happening, art blocks like going to infinity. Just like I think during this episode there was a new highest all-time buy of Fidenza.
It didn't show up yet. Like it didn't show up on chain.
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
Shit, I've just leaked it.
No, there's a tweet.
Oh,
We can break some news on here. Why not? They tweeted it. Sure.
Yeah.
This is going to be the one. This is the one that's selling. Probably.
okay.
So
Nice.
it's got a.
Yeah.
It's got like a.
That does look like a Fidenza.
It does. So.
Okay, so for the viewers, what should they be doing? Stay clear of all, like most new launches. People, yeah. So any like animal ones, any animal generative ones, just like stay well away from them. There's diminishing returns on them, right? So they're launching, they're going up, they're getting pumped and dumped, and like usually within a week they're dead. There's lots of rugs. It's not worth the risk reward anymore. A lot of these people, they're creating them just to make money. They're not trying to create some like ecosystem or whatever. It's really easy to make them as well. Like they're hugely overvalued. The amount of money they raise, it's like ridiculous, especially for the art. People price how much they like the art, how like aesthetically pleasing it is as well. But like that's something that's very easy to create, and that's something that will continue to be created over time as more artists come in and more people create projects. That's not what you want to be pricing something on. You want to be pricing something on the brand. So like Punks has a great brand now, which is why the price is like staying. It's doing so well. So one that launched quite recently that I really like is Habbo. So Habbo have 300 million users or registered accounts. Most people in my generation would have played it when they were younger. Most people know what Habbo is, and it makes a lot of sense. Like they have this whole
How you spell
world. Habbo, Habbo.
This is Habbo Hotel.
Yes, they've created an avatar collection.
I mean, Habbo Hotel maybe was the original Metaverse.
Exactly, right? They already have this game that they can put all their avatars into, right? And they can sell stuff as NFTs.
This is it.
Wait, so that duck thing there is a Habbo Hotel NFT identity.
Yeah, so they've done a generative collection.
You just told me to stay away from generative ducks.
This is about the branding, though, right? So like Habbo, everyone knows what Habbo is. People like Habbo. It's not just some scam that will disappear next week.
Ledger, do it the opposite way, high to low. I want to see what the most expensive fucking Habbo hotel identity is.
See, this is how rich people sort OpenSea.
I think
But it's
the
just
highest
people
buy
that put high
is.
prices. You want the highest
Your
last
highest
trade.
last sale.
So I am the highest last sale. I bought.
You spent 20 ETH on this?
Oh, it doesn't show up. No, it was there. It was. If you go back a couple of pages, it was there. Oh, that you've got buy now. Click buy now. Off. There you go.
That one.
Yeah, that one's me. So I bought this.
So what's
Wow, that really looks like it was worth
30 ETH.
$100,000.
So I think.
Explain. Please explain.
So I think the branding is something that makes a lot more sense to invest in than just the art, right? Because like there's like what was like okay, so the floor on this is like 0.3. The floor on like Cool Cats is like 10 ETH. And that's just one of like many generative collections that's come out. Like they won't like their brand isn't as globally recognized as Habbo is, for example, right? And I think it makes a lot more sense that you should save your money instead of like minting new collections that come out every week and trying to flip them. Save your money and wait for like the big ones to come along, right? So this would be one of them, in my opinion, that will do quite well because people don't just forget about this stuff, but people will forget about all the other collections that come out. So
I was going to ask you about Cool Cats. Like, is there a point where they get a degree of momentum that it's hard to stop it? Like it gets a little more protected?
This is the whole like diminishing returns things. Like there's not enough space for all of these projects, like because there'll be something after Cool Cats that people try and pump, right? And they won't get as high. So you had like Punks for like 100 something floor, and then Bored Apes got to like 50, and now this is at like 10. I think Toes is at like 10 or so as well. And I don't think it will go like significantly higher than this really, because there's only so much money in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it can't.
Yeah, you got to spend 40 grand on this.
It's like you're supposed to own one of these new things every single month. It's like there's only so much like space in people's minds for like what the cool thing is as well.
I don't think the space in their minds is really even the problem. It's the space of their wallets, you know?
Yeah, that as well, right? So yeah, it's really difficult to like create new things over and over and over again. You get big diminishing returns. It's similar to like altcoins back in the day as well. Like it just, and because like as more people know that they pump, they'll try flipping them more and more, and so you have more of a sell side every single time. Yeah. So.
And the only support for that is however, like the 10 or 15 or however many NFTs that there's basically like depth for, right? So where someone's willing to go buy that. Well, how's
I quite like these. They look cute.
Oh,
They
I
are.
like them a
They're
lot.
quite cute. Yeah, but they're up like 100x, right?
Yeah,
So,
I bought one because Keyboard Monkey told me to, and I also paper handed it. I sold it for about 10 ETH, but like I don't mind missing out on the next
Familiar
1 or
tale.
2 ETH. I mean, I didn't feel comfy. Like Path was just saying.
but yeah, save your money for like, because the amount of artists in the world who are in NFTs is still very, very small. Just wait, because eventually they will all come. They will all be in NFTs one day. Like even if they hate it right now, they'll eventually end up using it.
Yeah.
They're just being Luddites. So yeah, they'll come along, and then save your money for the good stuff, the good brands, the good artists. Like,
So do you think that a bunch of these like generative profile picture animal drops are similar to 2017 ICOs in that
yeah,
they're just getting launched and like a bunch of people make a bunch of money, a bunch of people will successfully flip. There's a good narrative to them because you can build a community around it and you can like hang out with your mates and like encourage each other not to sell basically, but then it's done.
mm-hmm.
So are you saying I should dump my penguins?
Yeah.
Do people still buy penguins? I haven't seen penguins in a while.
I
Yeah.
think they've been doing all right.
They're actually, I think the floor is maybe 2.7 or something. So it's not down, but it's not. I think the big thing is the volume. You know, if the activity is not dramatic. Yeah, look at this. It's interesting. So,
Someone in chat said Path hates penguins because they're cuter than him.
yeah. So if you look at this,
Amazing.
Look at the volume.
Look at the volume relative to the floor.
Yeah, people are not penging in.
Yeah.
This is something I talked about as well, right? So collectors, like, they tend to go up and up and up until eventually there's very little demand. So the price will stay the same because the people who own them, like, it's quite dear to them. They don't want to sell, but there's no more buyers, there's no new buyers, so the price can't go up anymore, right? And then eventually the people who aren't completely attached to their thing and like don't care about the money at all, they'll be like, okay, I want to get out of this, and then there's no liquidity to exit. It happened with hash masks earlier in the year. You just can't get out.
So theoretically, if you owned like 200 penguins, then do you think
you're fucked?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex. Stay away from like new shit. You think everyone's coming over, every artist is gonna make it over, and you gotta like save your like capital for when the like big ones arrive. And you think Habbo Hotel is a big one. What I like about this Habbo Hotel call and your purchase is that now when you walk around in Habbo Hotel, do people treat you like God? Because like you've got this like weird bronze robot suit. Have you worn it yet?
No, of course not. Yeah, no one actually uses any of this.
I was like, do people pay you more respect in Habbo Hotel? Have you ever been inside Habbo Hotel?
But yeah, so I think it makes sense as well. Like if metaverses are going to be built, that like it's extremely easy for them to integrate stuff because they already have a whole game that exists, right? Whereas all these other things, they're creating the avatars first and then they're creating the whole game. Whereas this is like it's going the other way. Yeah, it has a brand. I think there will be some projects as well that come out, some new ones that like you can flip and they will do really well, but like they're in the minority now. I think it's getting riskier and riskier. And there was a big rug pull the other day. It was called like Fighting Apes or something. The developer just like ran off.
What do you think about the ones where it's like pieces of the metaverse? Like it's not your avatar, but it's your tennis shoes or your backpack or your jetpack or broomstick.
Those are interesting. Yeah, I think it's quite early for them as well. Yeah, but it depends because there's all like sort of different art styles and different metaverses. Like you have some that are like voxel, you have some that are pixel, you have some that there's all sorts of different things. So it depends how they get integrated or like with AR or VR. Or, yeah,
like how
it's still very, very early on for that.
How compatible is your ninja sword or something?
Yeah.
But like it'd be cool if you could own a punk and also a ninja sword and have both of them in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead, Cobie. Just
what about this Mekaverse thing? How do I know if I won the raffle?
So that's huge. That's like the biggest NFT launch ever, right?
What even is it? I don't understand what it is.
It's an avatar project.
So you don't get a real robot?
I think, no, you do. You can 3D print them as well.
Right, but don't move.
No. I own...
This is going to start while we're on air. That'd be fun.
Oh, okay.
46 minutes. We can see if...
What is the event?
The minting. Right? I think you find out if you've won or not.
Find out if you won.
All right, so this is where 200,000 people are disappointed, basically.
Yeah.
And
I own a one of one by one of the artists who created this. So
you win either way.
Yeah.
How have one of
already
ones
figured out how to win?
How have one of ones performed? Because like
really
it
well.
makes sense to me. Sorry.
Really well. They're depends, right? It's like it's as I was saying, like sort of as one at a time, all coins. Artists are like they're flying out one at a time. So
so the collection is kind of the artist, I guess.
People like collections. Well, this goes back to like the edition stuff and like the liquidity and so on, right? If you have loads and loads of owners of one collection, then you have like loads of liquidity. You have lots of different organic interest in it, because lots of people own the same thing, so they're in it together. Whereas like with just one of ones, it's a bit more difficult. And also the artists can put stuff out whenever they want. Whereas with the collection, that's not going to grow anymore. The one of ones, it's not guaranteed. But then you also have something that's quite special.
I love NFT roadmaps. It's like, here's things we might do in the future, but please give us $4 million first. These are 0.2 ETH each. Like, what's that total raise? Because 8, I'm not have to do math here.
Yeah. So the Matt B, I own one of his pieces. I don't think it's on the site, but yeah, he does like optical illusions in 3D. They're very cool.
What's 1 ETH worth? I don't even know. Within
1 ETH equals 1 ETH.
1 ETH equals 1 ETH. 1,777 ETH is their raise.
Oh wow.
So
that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
To do some Gundam Wing looking avatars.
So they're gonna make $6.4 million on their mint, and then they are
very good aesthetically. I think. Like
Look,
in terms of the
I'm gonna wait and tell you how I feel about it for 40 minutes. Because if I win that lottery, I'm gonna.
Be very
This is
bullish.
this is the one. This is the one that's going to 100 ETH lot. But if I don't win the lottery, then this thing fucking sucks.
Yeah, it'll be free money for anyone who wins, which is quite cool. Like the floor will go like 10, 20x instantly. It's the biggest launch for NFTs I think we've ever seen. So yeah.
There's absolutely no chance I can win this lottery then. It's just that there's 150,000 people in the Discord. I didn't even try and cheat and like sign up with a bunch of different accounts. Oh, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? I'm not going to win. These suck. Unless I change my mind later when I do win. And then they're great.
Then it'll just be a scam. They'll do it because somebody with 400,000 Twitter followers is going to promote it. You know what's going to happen?
Yeah, maybe I will win.
Their royalty is going to be like 10% too on the sales or something. So they'll just keep winning.
Yeah.
What do you think is like an appropriate royalty for art? And do you think it changes depending on like how often the art's supposed to be turned over?
Yeah, okay, so I think collections it should be lower. Yeah, for one of ones, 10% is fine. That makes sense. But yeah, for like big collections, like more than like 2 or 3% is a bit.
Yeah, I kind of cringe when I sell something and it's like between OpenSea fees and the
more liquid it is, the lower the fee should be.
Yeah.
It's the same in traditional markets.
Yeah. If you're getting a 10% fee every single time you swing something with 10,000 pieces in it that people just use for their avatars, it seems ridiculous.
Someone in the chat just said, I always listen to Up Only on 2x and never live. It is so weird. It's like everyone doing 0x. I'm not going to lie. Cobie sounds so much happier at 2x speed.
You sound upset right now.
2x speed is like quite fast. And I already talk pretty quickly.
I listen to us probably like 2.7 because it's like a variable speed thing in Overcast. So
What? All right.
I actually I can't even stand talking at 1x, much less like listening to myself at 1x. So I apologize for anybody listening to us in real time. I'll shut up now. Y'all talk. Bye.
2x is a lot though, mate. Like 1.5, fine. All right, so because chat just keeps spamming the same 3 letters now, and it's on the topic of NFTs, we got to talk about it. Fractionalization, I was going to say, has become a big thing, but I kind of feel like that's your fault.
Yes, yeah, I opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, so like you fractionalized the feisty Doge picture. After that, there was like a fractionalized Pebble. The other Doge, the original Doge, was fractionalized by Pleaser, and there has been others, right? There was like a fractionalized Zombie and a fractionalized like. Yeah,
I think they came out before, a lot of them. So like fractionalized punks and stuff. The Index, the Punk Index, that's sort of a fractionalized one in a way as well. And DAOs, like DAOs who own NFTs in a way, that's fractionalized NFTs as well.
But like the Metacoven fucking people.
Yeah, B20.
Yeah.
So yeah, with NFT. I took one of the Zora pieces, the Zora Doges that got auctioned off in June, and I fractionalized it to create like an NFT dog coin. Because dog coins are huge, right? SHIB is up a ridiculous amount recently. And like SHIB has it's purely community, right? It's like, yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme for a community and they love it. And like with SHIB, I think everything was locked in the LP. So like if you put your money in, then it's still there and you can like cash out whenever you want. So it's like a sort of perfect Ponzi scheme. But with with the Feisty Doge NFT, there is NFT. I fractionalized it. I provided all the liquidity for it on exchanges. So you could, it was first come, first serve, so people could buy it. I listed it at 500 ETH valuation when I started. Now it's at 8,700. So it's doing pretty well if you bought then. Yeah. So.
And it's a fractionalization of this picture.
Yes.
So that means you own a fraction or like a tokenized fraction of this like photo that was taken of the original dog by the original owner. Mm-hmm. Dog still exists, right? Dog's still alive.
Still alive. Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Is it bullish or bearish for both dog and NFT if the dog dies? I wish I didn't ask that, but
I don't really want to answer that. That's...
I was like, while I was saying it, I was like, this is a thing that I tweet, but not a thing I really want to say in real life.
Yeah, the dog's called Kaboshi-sama. Yeah, it's owned by a woman called Atsuko Sato. She rescued it from a home back in 2008. And yeah, still alive. Very, very
Yeah,
nice
maybe
dog.
it's
Very
immortal.
famous dog. Probably, like, I think in terms of like tokenizing memes, this is probably like the number one, like the Mona Lisa, the original OG image. So the one called Dog, which has been fractionalized by PleaserDAO, I think like it makes sense that would just be on top of all NFTs. Some people say Pepe as well. Like I think it's quite close. But Matt Fury, he has this very different approach to it. Like he can continue minting art as much as he wants because he is an artist. He enjoys doing it. He has all these collections. Whereas the dog photos, like this is sort of that one especially is sort of like solidified itself as like that's what it is.
This one.
Whereas at Pepe, there's not like really one individual image that people would go to. Whereas like this is very like identifying. So yeah, this went for $4 million to PleaserDAO back in June, and they fractionalized it. It's called Dog.
$250 million.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sixes there. What does it mean?
Yeah, they're all doing pretty well after this SHIB pump, and I think it makes a lot more sense that these should be valuable rather than like SHIB or Doge because this has the provenance for like it's from the original dog, it's from the original owner of the dog and the photographer, so it's like it's actually coming from the original source.
It's
Like you're rewarding the person who created this, and then you're also rewarding the people who like supported that and the owner. Whereas
Too many dog coins. I can't find the chart. I can only find the feisty dog. Not near as many of these. Like I've been looking at this chart of feisty dog. I've been looking at this all day and just thinking like this should go up. Like this looks really good. Like if this is just a chart in space.
Please don't say that, Ledger, because I own some, and every time you say that, it does.
I think that's behind that chart. I think it's a bit higher than that now.
Yeah, it probably is.
I got asked a question, which is maybe a level up from the fractionalization and the provenance stuff, but it's like, why is dog money a thing at all?
Yes, right? I think it's a great question. I don't know. I've never really understood it. Yeah, because you had like Royal Long Pump and Dump It back in the day, and then like it's always been a meme, and then it's had this like cyclical. It's been in a cycle, like it goes up and down every like alt season. It's been doing that for 5 years, and then Doge has finally had like a proper bump. And I feel like it is like Elon Musk probably like it's his idea of giving back to people is he'll buy loads of this asset, and he's rewarding people who like believe.
Theoretically, he's buying loads of this asset.
Yes. So the only people holding are like just strange. They're very funny in a way. What was it he said? Elon was like he wanted the most fun thing to be true, or
the most entertaining outcome.
Ironic?
Yes. That was it. Yeah. So I think he likes sort of memeing that into existence. He likes memes, and it's very fun. It's very but yeah, the existence of like Doge at this price sort of proves that like memes are valuable in a way. So like that in itself gave me huge conviction in NFTs because it's like, well, Doge shouldn't be worth anything. It's always been a shitcoin, but it's somehow stayed up there with everything else all these years. So like, why shouldn't NFTs be in the same position? Why shouldn't they be given the same value, right? And then it makes more sense for the value to be given to the original NFTs, especially if you fractionalize them, because then you have a dog token, which is also having the provenance of the original dog, right? Because with Doge, it was created by Jackson Palmer, who has no right to create that on his own, right? Because he has nothing to do with the dog, right? And the same with SHIB, has nothing to do with the original meme. Whereas this does. So it makes much more sense that having an ownership of this should be valuable rather than the other Doge. But then you also have a community that's already existing around the other Doge, so, and like SHIB and that. So it's like, well, where should the value be? And I think it's just interesting just watching it move around, watching what people decide on. And a lot of it is people wanting to get rich quick, right? That's, of course. It is.
People not buying Doge for like the community, you're saying? They don't, they just want to support a dog.
Some of them, it's very, there's a lot of like unit bias, there's a lot of misunderstanding, there's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's a game people play. All right, they want to get rich quick. So I hope people don't spend more money than they can afford to lose on this stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting seeing like where the value should lie, what all the arguments are, and just people having fun with their money, right?
I think it's interesting that the real world will talk about a Beeple NFT that's representative of 5,000 days of work for $69 million, but this is $250 million, and I've never seen a mainstream news article about it. Like,
yeah, there was one in I think Forbes.
Yeah, but But you know,
yeah,
like,
it was
there was
nowhere
all,
near as big.
my friends and family know about the Beeple sale.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about that. So, in terms of like another thing about unit buys with NFTs, so I think Medici just bought the Fidenza for 2,500 ETH.
Wow.
There seems to be that Beeple sale is the only NFT sale that's coming above that sort of like threshold of like 2,000 to 4,000 ETH, because there's been loads of sales of like 2,000 to 4,000 ETH. You've had like loads of punks, you've had Edward Snowden, you've had the Doge, you've had that Fidenza, you've had all sorts of things in that like 2,000 to 4,000 ETH range. And then when you get to that, so like the aliens, the CryptoPunk aliens, they're all gone. None of them are listed for like anywhere near that. And then the apes, they got up to that price and then they disappeared from the market. And then the zombies have got up to that price now. And there's never any sales above that. So that seems to be both the maximum amount someone's willing to spend on an individual NFT, and also after that, people they're not interested in selling it ever, unless it's for like some obscene price. So the Beeple piece that sold for, I think it was 40,000 ETH, that's like the only outlier in the entire industry. It's really strange, I think.
Wasn't that technically a group buy?
No, it was just Mekaverse, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yes.
It's
How did
very likely
Mekaverse
the
work?
buy-
Did he like raise a bunch of money?
He basically worked the auction so that he bought every piece in the auction. So he worked with like a partner or something, but it was really just the one guy, Metacoven, and he just secured every piece from like different wallets and strategies, and people didn't realize it was all him until the end. Okay, so this announcement has been made, so they called it God mode. Okay, so crypto, the Cosmo.
So that's the guy that's pretending to be Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, for 2,500 ETH. Neat.
Yeah, cool. Looks great. Looks like Fidenza.
I'm gonna right click save it.
Yeah.
I think the spiral things are huge. Like, it's probably just upped the price of every spiral Fidenza. Is that an official trait? Yeah, it is. There's spiral no, spiral yes. I hate that. No.
I mean, every single one. I don't like those like deeply purple ones, but all the others look better than the one that we were just looking at.
There's 35 spiral yeses. So these all just got a lot more valuable.
I would go on that activity. I'd love to see if people are just buying now since it's broke.
No,
Volume has dropped off.
not really.
A minute ago to
OpenSea sucks with their activity pages.
Yeah, a lot of people do it
yeah.
privately now as well, so you don't see a lot of it. But
I'm fixing that.
but yeah, that seems to be the price range that like caps it out in ETH. No one is willing to buy an individual piece above that, which I think you need to consider, like, against ETH, how all of these things really going to perform if people don't want to ever spend above that amount. So
What's kind of the ceiling in traditional art?
Well, what that people sold for, right? That seems to be
not
what do you mean, like collectibles?
yeah, just like traditional art, anything that you could possibly sell. Like, things do become priceless and then just never transfer.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
when they tend to like be sold for something, I feel like I never really see anything beyond, I don't know, $30 to $50 million. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Do you think that essentially we could create a ceiling like that in crypto as well?
Yeah, well, I think if you want to liquidate at some point, you need to consider that. Like, you're going to run into a lot of problems.
Or you have to fractionalize it, like you mentioned.
Especially, like, there's lots of funds that are going into buying these, like, grail pieces, and they want to sell them for some incredible... I don't think they'd be able to. I don't think they'd get the
They'll
liquidity.
have to fractionalize them.
Yeah. That's exactly why, like, PleaserDAO did what they did as well. Yeah.
And how I got a few more questions on NFTs and a couple more on dog money, and then I want to talk about some like trading and a bit more technical stuff. But now there's dog like Doge, Sheep, NFT, dog, like fucking Husky, like whatever. There's like a billion of these things. How does like the future of dog money play out? And also a sub question: why is Sheep popular? What's that like? Is that just named after a dog? Does it do something, or is it just named after a dog?
Sheep is the creator locked like most of the supply in the LP, or all of it, I think. So it was like the most fair launch, like first come first serve that you could get.
Right.
I don't really understand how the community is growing as much as it is, because it's absolutely. I don't even know what the market cap is now. I haven't really been keeping track. But,
It came like number 12 on market.
Jesus Christ!
It passed Avalanche for a minute. I know that.
Oh my god!
But I think it's down like. Well, we can look at it on Coinbase because Coinbase finally listed it. That's fun.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense.
It went down like 35% today, though. After it, well, this is incredible. I'm just looking at the weekly chart here. But.
Yeah, I think the valuation of these things, like in collectibles in general,
this is like that Bitcoin. It's like that Bitcoin candle. When you got into crypto.
I think like the macroeconomic background is like it's a huge influence on these things as well, because like people, they have loads of discretionary income, they can spend it on whatever they want, so they spend it on stupid fun Ponzi schemes like this, right? So like Elon Musk supposedly buying up loads of Doge with like billions of dollars. That's one symptom of that. And I think as long as we exist in that sort of environment economically, I think these things will just continue to happen. Yeah.
What's the way out of that economic environment? That's a pretty heavy question. Maybe you should be consulting with a chancellor if you can answer it well. But
yeah, I don't know. Good luck.
Right, so we're just fucked. Dog coins are going 50x, but so are utility bills. So
yeah.
Right. All right, and then a final question on NFTs. We've seen a lot of NFT art, NFT collectibles. Do you think there's any trends happening in NFTs that like you're early on, or you think other people should be aware of? Like you, I guess, popularized fractionalization. Do you think there's going to be like NFT lending? Do you think there's going to be the different use cases that we don't yet know too much about?
Yeah, the NFTs as collateral, that's interesting. I don't think it'll be huge though, because it's really difficult to provide liquidity for all those different things. And then, fractionalization, I think that still has a long way to go. So as well, there's been a few, so I think memes in general, people like taking internet culture and creating it as a token like that, there's a huge amount of value there, because a lot of them go very, very, very cheap. So the hodl meme went for like 1 ETH because no one heard about it before the auction ends, which is really sad. But I think something that follows on from that, because there's a few examples of that happening and the creator not getting the money they want. It's like, well, there's nothing actually binding them from creating like another edition of that, right? They could just screw over the original collector who got it really cheap and create a second edition, right? Which it hasn't happened yet, but I think it will at some point. Someone will be like, I want more money from my art. And like, there's nothing stopping them from doing it. So they'll mint a second edition, they'll delete the original supply. And then when the first person does that, that will sort of open the floodgates. People will be like, oh, well, how much of my work can I mint? How much can I like crush the secondary market and get away with it, really, before people just stop buying entirely? But yeah, there's lots of different ways for creators to like extract value from their work. This is one thing. So I dropped something called D-Gold to all of the NFT holders. And a chunk of that supply was sent to Atsuko Sato, the owner of the dog, because she doesn't actually have any financial stake in NFT or dog or any of the NFTs she sold. So it makes sense, I think.
Perpetual interest, you mean, right?
Yeah. She should have some sort of stake in the tokens, or like in the future like financial appreciation of these things. It makes sense, I think.
Just as a side note on that Fidenza, apparently it was a portion of the Fidenza that was purchased. It was purchased at a valuation of $2,500, but he didn't even buy the whole thing. So
okay,
what?
That's really dodgy, isn't it? That's just a
fraction.
Why is Snoop Dogg so poor?
I don't know, but Path, we will sell you a fraction of up-only equity at a valuation of $1 billion.
Okay, I'll trade you for NFT shares.
Okay. Please write stories about it. Do a long...
Wait, is he a fraction? Does it say how large a fraction is?
I don't know.
How do I get NFT on FTX?
I don't know.
Tweet Sam. Did you know that Sam's the richest person under 30 alive, and he just replies to your DMs? How cool is that? You just DM him and he's like, what? You're like, sorry, I'm drunk. And he's like, okay.
I've been up all night playing Magic the Gathering. I'll get back to you later.
I mean, it is pretty nuts that the richest person under 30 in the world, just like you tweet him and he replies. And it's also nuts that like just a few months ago he was like swearing at people and telling them fuck off. Go buy all that, fuck off.
Well, he wasn't the richest person under 30 then. Now he is. Now he's wearing suits in the Bahamas and power stances. Money changed the man.
Yeah. A final question on NFTs. If you were one of those people, you like did there was a weird photo of you and it became like a popular meme, and you want to maximize the revenue that you get from it. Maybe like you're not like a super popular meme, but you're at least semi-recognizable. How would you go about it?
Okay,
just in case
so
any of those people listening.
You want a long auction time, not just one day, because that's ended in disaster a lot of times. Have like a week long. Make sure you like promote it as much as possible before you start the auction, so people are aware of it and like the ending date of it. Contact some big collectors, because there's plenty of people out there who will pay well for it. And then when you sell the original, like you can sell editions of it if you want, but it's usually best to sell it as like a one of one. You could fractionalize it yourself if you want. There are some legal things to do with that, but I wouldn't worry too much. It's very early days, but you'll get away with it. And then also you can do like derivative.
Theoretically.
Yeah, you can do like derivative art of your piece as well. So the guy who made Trollface, he does like lots of derivative. He's very engaged with his community, like people who like using the meme for things and stuff, and he makes like derivatives of his art. Yeah, you can make those and sell them off, because like you have a brand, right? Like Matt Fury, he's probably the best example of this, of people who have capitalized on it. He did a whole pigs collection, which made him a stupid amount of money, and then he's also he sold the original comic for like 400 ETH, and then he's done like other one-of-one pieces with collabs of people, and yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff. Just go wild with it. But yeah, you can do like say you have a video, for example, you can sell the whole video as like a one-of-one piece, and then you can sell like clips of it and like editions of those clips and so on, and like maybe like yeah, there's so much you can do.
Fair enough. So what you're basically saying is like do a long auction and DM me and I'll buy it off you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Cool. So I want to talk about a bit more technical stuff. Like, do you still actually trade, or are you just a collector now? Are you the collector?
I still trade a bit. I run all the liquidity for NFT, so technically I'm trading that all the time. I'm the market maker for that. But yeah, I still do some trades. I traded Axies, AXS. That was good. Mina's a trade I'm still running. I'm still long that. And Tezos as well. But yeah, I've been focusing a lot more on NFTs lately.
I love that you're long Tezos while dissing Arthur on Twitter. That's great.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Yeah, if there's any good trades, I'll jump into them. But
do you like Bitcoin anymore?
Oh yeah, I still own Bitcoin. I'm still more bullish ETH than Bitcoin, even with the price action recently. Like I think ETH will come back. I'm not worried.
And do you do much like technical leverage trading stuff now, or are you just like following the easy trends?
Yeah, I've not been bothering with leverage really. I think I will lever up in ETH. I think ETH will go sideways before it breaks 4,000. I think in like a month or two, you go like leverage long on ETH on like a small dip. I think that'll be like really good trade, or like buy calls or something. I think like that's the best possible timing.
And then how much do you think like the technical trading and like day trading or whatever has changed over like since you got in like 2013 or whatever? Because it, at least from my perspective, 2013 was fucking easy as fuck.
But yeah, you have a lot more participants now. You have a lot more liquidity. You have a lot more like bots. You have lots of like very sophisticated algorithms and market makers running. So yeah, the market, like all of these old opportunities, they get arbed out. Yeah.
And have you been doing much option stuff? I know you were doing some of the end of last year.
I keep an eye on it. I haven't really done any options since then, though, really. So
that chart does look really nice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'll consolidate under the highs for ETH, maybe for Bitcoin as well, and then like that'll be a good place to buy call options.
I was hoping you were going to say
like a gamma squeeze.
I was hoping you were going to say Bitcoin might run first.
I think Bitcoin probably will run first. Yeah.
Nice. Do you think the layer one trade's calming down? I mean, you said you still have Mina and Tezos, so maybe not. Like
yeah, I think Tezos.
Solana,
I've not really been bullish on Solana or anything like that. I've missed that whole trade, but I don't really care because I've been focusing on NFTs the whole time. So
I have Genesis.
Yeah, I remember my message was like, this is just gonna go, and you're like, I cannot bring myself to buy this chart. Because the thing is, at a certain point of like parabolic, it just continually looks the same, doesn't it? So it gets hard to spot where the top is. Because like, even if it goes 3x, the chart looks exactly the same anyway. Just this little bit gets a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a good level of restraint in refusing to buy those things and being like, look, I'm late to this. Like I've seen charts that are like this before. I'm not gonna go into it. But how do you manage to cope with like missing the $1 to $200 trades?
well, I've done a lot of them myself, so it's all right. I'm in a lot of things I have conviction on, so I'm not worried about. There's so many. You can't get every trade, right? It's not. You can't be like, oh, I've missed out on this. Like just wait in the things you're already holding. Right, time in the market's better than rushing from like one thing to another because you just get chopped up.
Yeah, that ETH chart looks quite good too.
It's so good. It's so good. It's going to 20,000 easy.
Oh my God.
Easy.
You know, when Tetranode came on and said we were going to 100,000, that's when I got the like very embarrassing all neck moan gif from the show. But so you say 20,000? Like, do you think that's like less than a year type of move?
I don't know about timing. I think we consolidate under 4,000. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could happen in a year or so. Yeah.
It's a multi-year cycle at a bare minimum, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's super cycle. Like, I don't think these things will bleed out anymore. Like, there's too much money. There's too much attention on it. Like, it'll be significantly higher before we get another bear market. I'll say that.
What does a super cycle mean?
We've gone over this, right? It just means like, so the same way like stocks are, right? They just go up forever with inflation, right? Because everyone puts their money in it. It's like, it's a safe thing. Mm-hmm. People are like, okay, I'll allocate some money to this, and that continually happens over time, right? And so like, if there is a crash for whatever reason, people are still buying it. It doesn't matter.
I'm definitely going to sell too soon. No doubt about it.
And then, so how do you time exits on these things in like a super cycle environment? Like, even with NFTs as well, like it's hard to figure out the top. And then when you figure out the top, the liquidity is gone maybe.
Yeah, so like with ringers.
Yeah, with you with ringers slowly reducing your price on Twitter.
Still hasn't sold. I think it's ringer 515. Anyone wants to buy it, 140 ETH. Great, thanks.
100 what? 40?
140, yeah.
Will you take 120?
Will you take 7?
DM me.
I really like ringers. I'm just too poor for them. They're so expensive.
I don't think they look very good.
What?
Yeah, I bought the bottom.
No, not you. Cobie said he doesn't think they look very good.
No, they don't. They're shit.
Oh, dude, come on.
Yeah, cool. Look at that. It's shit.
They're very aesthetic.
I really like keyboard monkeys, and I almost like he listed it one night. He went in one of his panic modes. He listed it for like 70 ETH or something. I really wanted it, and I didn't do it, and now I have regrets. But I think these are amazing. And then you get to
they're absolutely terrible. They're just dots with a line around them.
What I really like about OpenSea as well is it tells you what other people bought theirs for. So it feels really good if you're buying someone for like when they're taking a loss.
Oh, yeah.
Also like,
yeah,
it's very comforting.
Thank you.
Yeah. I saw somebody.
All right, we got to consult chat. Chat, do you think ringers look good or bad? You've only got one word answer, which is good or bad. And we're gonna see who wins. I wish there was some way to do like a poll, but I don't know how. Like, are these good or are they dog shit?
Someone said yes. You didn't follow the directions.
Bad.
This is just your influence. Yeah. This is the Cobie influence.
No, they can see them. They're on the screen, mate.
Ringers are elite. I love them. I want one.
Yeah, you also like fluffs.
Fluffs are...
They're really, really bad. I think these are probably one of the worst NFTs. Not the worst NFTs, but like worst like valuation to like what it is.
Don't let Dimitri here.
Wow, there's really not that many for sale. I just scrolled all of them for sale.
Yeah.
Wait, are they like animated or some shit?
No.
Is there something that I'm missing?
They're
Nope.
just pegs. They're randomly generated pegs and
It's
patterns.
yarn and pegs and fill.
I think this was a really early geometry project, which is why, like, I think if any of them are going to be worth something, Ringers makes a lot of sense. I think more so than
Yeah, you're
Fidenza.
trying to sell one, mate.
Yeah, I
you
am
would
trying
say
to
that.
Yeah.
All right, so Cobie, what's your favorite Art Blocks curated project then?
I don't like any of them. The thing is, being being a hater on NFTs, being like an NFT bear, never works out very well because everything in crypto only goes up. So you just end up with like, oh, Cobie hates it, that means it's going to go up narrative, and then you hate on something that's like actually shit, it goes to zero, and people are like, fuck, the thesis didn't work. Because that's no, I just don't like any of them. I think Fidenzas look great, and I think that explosion of color thing looks great, but that's not Art Blocks, is it?
No, but we're gonna put it on there because now you're starting to talk bags of mine.
Those flower fields, those are one of my
Yeah, I don't even own any of this explosion of color shit, but I think they're really nice. He did another drop recently, which I think was also all right.
Singularity.
Yeah, they're all right. They're fine. Not like, look, I'm not saying it's good. Just saying it's not as bad as the fucking Ringer thing.
I love them. Buy my bags. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, come on, we're buying Habbo Hotel avatars. Like this, it's not like a market where people have got a lot of like good options. Like, why didn't someone come along and like cleaning up?
I will give the balance side of this. Like, I really like Explosion of Color. I think they're amazing. They're AI generated or whatever, basically using some kind of machine learning and then like pick the good ones. But the good is they kind of use this as a key to other stuff. So like if you had this, you could mint Singularity. The bad is, okay, well, if they did 2 mints in, I don't know, 2 months, then to pass the point of like supply, like, are there going to be like 10,000 of these things out there over the course of the next year, and it's going to force prices down?
Yeah, I want to go back to what I said about like having like brand compared to like how good the art is, because like you can spit this out forever, and artists will if they want to make money. Whereas like the brand is something. So like with Ringers, because Ringers were early, they have like a good brand. Mm-hmm. And when Fidenzas were blowing up, I tweeted about it. I was like, well, like yeah, they're great because they're quite complex algorithms, but like they're not early. They're not early things. They don't like. There's going to be so many of these things minted in the future. So you need to be really careful when you're buying those sorts of collections.
The other thing about
what I like about after you, mate.
The one thing about the machine learning stuff, and I learned this on Kevin Rose's podcast. Shout out to him again. Is building kind of the model for for spitting pieces out takes a pretty long time and a lot of compute power, thousands of dollars or whatever. Once you actually have the model, then it can spit out a whole bunch of them. So you have to at some point kind of tell it to stop, and then you make a human decision to say, okay, well, we're going to make 100 of these or 1,000 of these or whatever, and it's kind of the artist's control to like chill out on it and consider the economics of their project in addition to the art.
Yep. So they decide the scarcity. So really, yeah, you're putting the value in the hands of the artist. Yeah.
What I like that guy did, your profile picture guy, I don't remember his name.
Ghost Gagné. Yeah.
Ghost, yeah, with an X in the middle, yeah. He did a bunch of art, and it was like so cheap when it was like basically free.
So the first 4 ghosts were $1 each, I think. So I bought. Yeah, they were. It was like, go to ghost number 1 and go to like the history.
How could you even pay for it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Someone paid. It was
Did they Venmo it?
Well, no, you can still buy it. You just paid like the transaction fee was high, right? But he wanted to give them away for free. His whole thing was like he wants the secondary market to do really well, so he prices them really cheaply, and then you build a community doing that because people like they go for them. So there it is. Yeah. Ghost number 1. So this was bought for $1, and then I bought it for 3 ETH. So that's like 10,000x, and now like I don't know what this would sell for now, but.
Oh, so you don't own it anymore. You're not sitting on a.
Oh yeah, no, I have loads of ghosts, right? But yeah, so I bought it from Nemo, and then I bought the most expensive one as well for like 600 ETH.
Oh, so this one is yours.
Yeah, that's mine.
You have many handles on OpenSea. I don't.
So I buy most of the things through Cinemotor because.
So what makes these valuable?
Well, It's art. It's an art collection. People like he hand makes all of them, and you can combine them into like different pieces of his art that he creates. So you combine two ghosts. If you go to the top of the collection, I think it tells you, like in the description, press the arrow. So it will tell you there. So that he has like ghosts, demons, aliens, sirens, and so on, and they combine into like mortals, demons, and so on. And like if you get one of each of them, then you get a creator, which is like the end goal. So those are like super expensive.
So you're saying Froyo's to the moon, and I didn't get one.
But yeah, this is like the original sort of like the artist. He makes everything and then he like combines it for you. And people absolutely love that. So lots of people have been copying this idea.
Yeah.
What I liked about this is just that how cheap all the initial pieces were. And like everyone that supported this artist at the beginning got like, 10,000x or 20,000x on their purchases. And I watched you do the whole thing on the sidelines being like, oh, this is quite interesting what's happening here. Never bought anything, never profited off it, just sat and watched like, yeah, well, shit, I just missed out again. But, but I liked that. I liked the idea that someone did a collection and they did it and everything was $1 and it wasn't like, I'm going to make a bunch of art and then sell it for the highest possible price I can get for my collection. It was just built a community by doing like super, super, super cheap mints and then everyone that was on board early won. I quite like that.
It's like
Path, I want to switch up a bit, talk about DeFi. Do you do much DeFi stuff?
I use Lido, of course. I've been staking my ETH for a
Who
long
doesn't?
time. Yeah. I haven't really been lately. I did do a stable farm for a little bit. I think that's quite cool. But I'm not the most experienced in it really. I missed out the DeFi summer. But yeah. That's all.
Why do you think there's a big ETH DeFi bear market?
So there's all these different protocols, right? It's just code and branding at the end of the day, right? So like the governance tokens are worth something, and like the idea is like, we'll be able to charge people fees and so on, but like it's just a contract you can copy at the end of the day. And then so like what you're really paying for is like the dev team and the people like the community around it. So it's kind of it's easy to copy things, and it's still very early days. It's quite fragile. Because these things can break and like all your money can disappear. There's so much to explore. It's still very early on.
Are you like macro bullish, or you think it's just like?
I think it will go somewhere. It's just like I don't know how. I feel like the fees that get extracted from it. I don't know how you get those to the token holders like necessarily, because it's sort of like if there's one contract with a fee of X, then there'll be like another contract with a fee of just half that, and they'll just undercut each other.
This is more to be like representative. It's not to say about like 0x's API, but like it's just a swap mechanism, and since they've gone multi-chain, like their ETH stuff is flat or down. Like people just don't transact on Ethereum, and I think that has a lot to do with why DeFi it just can't get off the ground. But their multi-chain stuff goes ballistic. It's growing like crazy because that's the only place people can afford to do anything.
Are they getting any fees from that?
Yeah, I think they get some. It's just not like high enough for anybody to care about the token.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the problem with the tokens, right? They move to other chains where it's cheaper, or like there's just no fees going to it, so it's not worth anything. Yeah,
I mean, I think if you charge like 0.3%, you get enough volume, it starts to add up. But this isn't to say about like 0x in particular, because theirs just isn't that high or whatever. But even if you do charge that, the point is just on ETH, people aren't trading. Like people cannot trade. Only really, really rich people can trade.
So yeah, I'm moving NFT liquidity to Arbitrum soon. That'll get done quite soon. That'll help.
The monthly active users on all those platforms are exploding relative to Ethereum.
Yeah, L2 will be huge.
It seems to me like if blue chips in particular find product market fit in those places and the like native ones don't win, so like if people use Aave and Sushi or whatever instead of the localized ones, then that might give an opportunity for more. Do you think that's possible? Like like more meaningful token pumpamentals,
Yeah, it makes sense.
What do you think, Cobie?
Honestly, I wasn't really listening. I was reading this thing about Ribbon, I was going to ask something about ribbon because everyone's talking about ribbon today, but I needed to know what ribbon was before I asked the question, and I didn't learn it from what I just read. I attempted to, but I did not
Just
succeed.
went right out.
So instead, I'm going to go with this. Do you like the word ribbon?
Good name.
So, do you like ribbons in real life?
Ribbon fan. Cobie, there's two things that I think at a minimum we need to talk about today before we get off the call with Path. One is we're now 4 minutes from the Mekaverse thing. So do we want to stay on live and see if any of us want a mint? Because that might be fun. And then number two is our friend Mela B is like the final day for that thing. So are we going to like do something for Mela to get the donations?
I think she's streaming, so we can just
we can stream
send
her
the
stream.
viewers over. Is she live now? I'll have a look.
She's doing it for 3 hours before the end.
When's the end?
It ends at like 10 o'clock my time, so that's what it's like 3 a.m. UTC, evening time for Americans. So
If I'm being totally honest, I'm probably going to be in bed at that time.
that's the very, very end, and you won't be in bed. You're never in bed by then. That's very early for you.
All right, so she's not going live for ages then.
She's gonna go live in about it's 4 o'clock for me. It's about 3 hours. I think she's going live in about 3 hours.
All right, well, we can't stay on for another 3 hours till she starts, but maybe
but we
can...
need to tell people to go to Mela B's stream, and if she wins this thing, it's the ability to play in front of this huge live audience, and she's going to say "pump it, loom dart." That's really all you need to know.
I'm sold.
So yeah, go to her Twitter, Mela B Official, and you need to vote. You have to use a credit card or like a debit card. This was crypto, like it'd be game over instantly. You have to use real stuff, and yeah, start voting. And she's going to be streaming, so we'll look out for our stuff. But we need to get her across the finish line, you know.
I reckon we like pump it, loom dart's not enough. I think she needs to dress as a blueberry. Like it's very Lady Gaga. Is Lady Gaga still popular?
She's in the chat.
Lady Gaga's in the chat.
No, Mela's in the chat.
Pat, I wanted to ask about the NFT auctions. I forgot about this. You know, we've seen Christie's and Sotheby's and shit adopt NFTs as like a revenue source. They keep auctioning off like particular NFTs or batches of collections or whatever. Two have just been announced at Sotheby's. Can't remember what they are. I own one of them, so I'm not going to say it. I don't remember what the other one is. Like, how do you feel about it? Are you cynical about it? Are you optimistic? Is this mainstream adoption?
The whole point of this space is to get away from those old institutions. So that it doesn't make any sense to me why people are like, oh, so Sotheby's are no.
Don't matter.
Cool. Yeah. Whatever. Cool.
Yeah. Fair enough. Did you see the art blocks like wall?
Oh, they're awful. It's like you had that punk that was like right up in the ceiling.
Yeah, the
like
fonts were so small.
It's like
They hidden around the room.
It was like a Post-it note.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like that. It's just like, who cares? Who cares? They can sell some shit. Do you remember when the Beeple auction happened and it went for such a large amount of money and it was like, holy shit, this is so bullish, and then it was announced it was Justin Sun, and it was like, and then it was like, that's kind of bearish, right? Like a crypto native has bought the crypto art.
Yeah,
it's kind of bearish. Like everyone was like, holy shit, 70 million, that's insane. And then it was Justin Sun, and everyone was like, oh no. And then it got even worse. It was like, wait, no, it's the dude's mate.
Yeah, it's Metaverse who also like he's just buying his own bags, and then it's like dubious where his money comes from and the taxes and so yeah. Some people think he's just like washing money somehow. Yeah.
We're not saying that.
Yeah, we're
not
not.
us. No FTX. All right, are these like drops thing happened? How do I get to it?
Join the event.
Yeah, join the event.
You are not registered.
I can't join it from. I don't have anything on this computer to do it with because I'm good at the security thing. You're not registered.
I had an error when I signed up, but I thought it went through. But I guess not.
It's hardware wallets.
Yeah, well, no, I did it without that. I did it through Discord, and it just gave me internal server error. So I'm like, okay.
I see what you're saying. We are launching.
Right, so you rugged yourself already.
Yeah, don't think I.
Right, so you're out.
Cool.
Wait, how do we know if... wait, mine says you are currently in our queue to purchase your Mekaverse NFT. Does that mean I got one? What's yours say, Cobie?
Mine says you're currently in our queue to purchase your Mekaverse NFT.
There's no way we both won. This is just what it's telling everybody. We're going to have to sit here for another 30 minutes.
I wonder how the Discord's doing, because they have like 300,000 members.
Wait, so I've just got to sit here for 30 minutes in order to buy a fucking shit robot?
It says read next line. Please do not refresh this page and wait while we're selecting the winners. I don't know what that means.
That means you're not even guaranteed to get one. It's like when the Mina sale happened, right? There were like 500,000 people who went into that, and it was like 1 in 50 people who actually got it or something.
It says 3 have been minted.
3. Okay. What?
Don't say that for me. It says 1 has been minted.
Mine ticked up from 1 to 3, yeah. Okay.
What were they doing the whole day yesterday? Why they got to pick winners now?
I don't know.
What were they doing?
Making sure
I
we
could have
weren't
picked
cheating.
the winners.
If you got an error, one of the errors wasn't really written in good English. So that's a little bit worrying. But it's like...
All right, so Path, what's your estimation on the Mekaverse price? Sometime within like a week.
It'll be like 5 ETH on launch easy, I think. Yeah, so that makes sense.
A free.
Then it'll go up a bit, and then it'll probably bleed out.
Yeah. So free 5 ETH for the winners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy times 20.
If I win, I am gonna spend the entire proceeds on Malibu votes.
Why do you have the scissors out again? Where do you keep these scissors? And then also,
I don't know where they come from.
You never followed up on Urbit, so was there like a DM where Cobie told you to shut up so he could buy some?
Okay, so Urbit. Urbit's a very old NFT. They launched in I think 2018, or even before that. It might be 2017, before ETH pumped the first time around. So Urbit's been in development since 2002. So it's ancient. Yeah. So the guy behind it is called Curtis Yarvin. He's left now. He's very ideologically driven. You might know some of his writing, but he created this system where he doesn't want. It's about sovereignty on the internet. It's about owning the whole stack, like the operating system and the hardware and the internet connection, the network and everything. So with Urbit, your NFT is your ID in this operating system and the network. So you own everything. So you can buy a planet is like the lowest form. It's in like tiers.
They look exactly like ringers. Are those ringers again?
But it's not about the art in this case. Right. It's about the ID.
Good job, because they look like ringers.
It's your ID in the system. So it's in an hierarchy. So it goes planets and then stars and then galaxies. Galaxies are at the top. Stars are about 5 ETH each now, I think. And stars like they contain.
What's the min and max? It's just the ID number or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. So each star has like 65,000 planets.
I see. So
each galaxy has...
A galaxy should be more valuable, right?
Yeah. Galaxies, they have 256 stars each.
Oh, there's none for sale.
The galaxies are like the main servers that run the network. The topology of the network is quite interesting because it's not like fully decentralized. It's like you have a limited amount of nodes. I think that comes from Curtis's sort of ideology about how like he sees the world. So it's an interesting choice, but it's its whole. It's about like decentralizing everything. It's about owning everything that you use and not being at the mercy of like Microsoft or Apple or Twitter or whoever, right? And it's bootstrapped on Ethereum, so your ID is on Ethereum, can't be taken away from you or anything. And this is like your key to that operating system, that whole ecosystem.
Somebody said it looks like a TradingView logo.
But this is like, yeah, it's a great idea. It's a really interesting idea. I was on another podcast, a guy called Justin Murphy, and we talked about it and NFTs and all that. And I think, he's a real big fan of it.
FP1
I agree
says
with-
it's too complicated.
Yeah,
Is that
I
what
agree
you're
with
gonna say?
FP1.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this
FP1's
is like
right.
the next big thing after like NFTs and metaverses and that. You guys will be on this in however many years.
We buy past bags. Path owns like 1,000 planets.
He's wearing his fucking Habbo hotel suit on his like fucking Galaxy plane. And we're like, shit, he was right. Fuck, we're just here in real life having a nice time. Fuck.
I'm buying one as soon as we get off the show. Just after I can.
Buy a star.
But I can't reload any. Like Mekaverse has rugged me for half an hour while I wait to see if it tells me if I'm good enough to mint one.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
want to
if
buy a star, you won't find a Galaxies for sale because they're all owned by people who just refuse to sell, mostly. But yeah, planets are very overvalued for like the investment wise. And planets, like people who buy planets, they just buy one to have the ID to get on the network.
Mm-hmm.
But if you buy a star, then you have. Yeah, stars have 65,000 planets. So if you want, you can fraction. You don't fractionalize it. You spawn them from the star, and then you can sell them off individually. So you can extract value from the market that way if you want. Because if you look at the value of the star and the value of the planet and how many planets there are in a star, there's a huge difference there. So yeah.
Path, we've been almost going for 2 hours, so I've got a final round of questions. You were famous in the previous cycle for doing these charts, basically calling the top within a few dollars of Bitcoin and the bottom. So I'm just going to like quick fire asset names at you, and you've got to tell me the top for this cycle, all right? But you've got like 3 to 5 seconds to answer each one.
That's a lot of dead air. You got to and ah beforehand, like no dead air.
Bitcoin,
250,000.
Ethereum,
80,000.
80?
Yeah.
Solana,
500. Don't know.
Cardano,
I don't even know what price Cardano is. 20.
20. It's probably going to be.
Chainlink,
Oh, that's an interesting one. 400.
Zcash.
Oh, 5,000.
5,000. Luna,
I don't know what isn't that a stable coin? What? I don't know what Luna is.
$1.
Arv,
Ave, 1,000.
Ooh.
BNB,
2,000.
FTT,
What the fuck is FTT? What?
FTX's native token,
FTT. Sorry, I thought you said FTT. FTT. 300.
Tesla stock,
No. 0.
0. Yes.
GameStop stock,
Oh. 1,000. Sure. Why not?
UK gas prices.
Oh. I'll be freezing. I don't know. Don't want to know.
All right, so if anyone can decipher that later, people seem to be happy about. Oh yeah, there's a great one, Tree Fiddy, Floor Punk.
Oh, okay. I think they could go to 300-400 ETH max.
What?
That's like
300-400.
absolute ceiling. I think that would be like forever top against ETH. Maybe they go higher in dollars if ETH goes higher, but yeah, like I'd be very
It's like
careful.
300 ETH. That's what? $1 million? 300 ETH, $1 million?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any assets from the
NFT.
chat? You can't answer that. You can't answer that. Look, I'm going to be an on-screen lawyer. You can't answer that.
Tezos.
Oh, 50. Sure.
You're very bearish, Ave. Like,
Ripple.
I don't know what RA price is. I never really traded it. Ripple, like, I don't know. But don't $3 again. Sure. They get the double top.
Look,
You get out break even.
Ripple are adding NFTs. I don't know how that works, but
Nah.
they're adding them.
fluffs.
No.
Cool cats.
15 ETH.
So almost done. Sell your cool cats, says Path. AVAX.
All right, we're done.
Okay.
We're done. All right. We should ask for a couple of questions from the chat and then ask the final question.
I just want to know what their bags are going to be worth.
Yeah, no, we're not doing any more of them, so you can stop spamming like Rune and Sovereign and shit again. Like, no one knows what the price of Sovereign is. Any other questions for Path from the chat? If they're good ones, we'll read them out. If they're shit, we'll ignore you. And then we'll ask the final question. Path, are you reading the chat?
Yes, I am. So I think Meaning will go up a lot. I'm really bullish on that. I don't know what I have no target for it. I'm just holding it forever. Axies. So I own land. The land produces Axies, so I think it makes a lot more sense to own the land at this point. Like it's a revenue stream, and like Axies itself also gives revenue, so it's like a double. Yeah, it's crazy. What else? AVAX. I like Avalanche. I think you're just getting dumped on by the VCs at this point though. So like I don't.
Wait, on which one?
Avalanche,
mate, your favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually really have a lot of exposure to Avalanche.
Well, the last episode you did.
Did I?
Last episode I said I did.
So yeah, I own some Rare Pepes. I did own the Nakamoto card, but I sold it off. I flipped that like 10x. Lots of NFT stuff. I sold my Paul Picasso honorary. Sorry.
This is ridiculous. I, by far the poorest person here, sells an honorary, and I get crap from the whole internet about it. Y'all sell your honoraries, and nobody cares.
I never should have tweeted about my ape, because it inspired everyone else to claim theirs, and then they dumped on me.
And now you haven't sold your ape.
I still have it, yeah. I have number one. Because it's number one, I might as well just hold it, and like that's my moonshot. Because I sold all the apes I've minted now. I sold the last one at like 50-something ETH.
The thing with
yes, it is a WoW server blade in the background. Bronzebeard. There you go.
The things with honoraries are like, yours look great because your profile picture's so good. You know, they're like blue and red. Like, there's a lot to work with, and like the artists can do what they want. Mine always look fucking shit. Mine are always by far the worst. Mine always look common. Like, no matter what, it never looks rare.
It's your punishment for saying you hate NFTs every time you go on this show.
Yeah, maybe. And also the honoraries are never in the like real collections. Like, they don't get all the like benefits. Like, you didn't get the mutant shit for apes. So as an honorary receiver, the superior, like, basically what they're doing, they're giving you it so you promote them, right? Whether like directly or indirectly. And I don't want my payment for that in a fucking Kurt Cobain branded stupid fucking toad or whatever. So I give that to whoever bids. If someone wants to buy the Kurt Cobain toad, then they can have it from me, and then I use that to buy 2 of their collection. They just give me 2 of their collection as honorary. So that's way better. I'm in an undoxed wallet. It doesn't look like Kurt Cobain anymore. It's so much better. That's the way to do it. Honoraries, they're given to be sold.
Yeah, having them in the collection it's cool for the person who receives it, but then the community doesn't like it because like the rarest ones are going to people who don't necessarily care about it. So that can be quite dangerous.
I like honoraries when they're out of the main collection because they're just for fun. Mm-hmm. And then if someone determines to value them, then that's up to the individuals to buy or sell them. That's their call.
Yeah.
Path, what do you think about Immutable X? I don't know if I'm supposed to ask you that because you're an investor in Immutable X.
Very good. Please buy it.
He really likes it.
Yes.
All right. I haven't seen any good questions. They're all just saying, what's the price target for this stuff?
Do you think OpenSea will do a token?
Probably. Yeah, I think Foundation will do one soon. Like a lot of other NFT platforms will do one. I think OpenSea, I don't know, they got a lot of funding from A16Z, so maybe not.
Do you think any of them can beat OpenSea?
Oh, no. OpenSea have been, comparing them to like early crypto exchanges is very interesting. Like the whole industry has come a long, long way from that, especially with like just knowing what they're doing, creating sites, creating like backends and stuff. OpenSea have been around for like 2017, right? Mm-hmm. And like the only competitor that's been around as long as them is Rarible, and like clearly OpenSea pulled ahead of them. I don't know how, with maybe the exception of something that lets you onboard fiat really easily, like maybe like Nifty Gateway could pivot in a way, and like because they're doing it so like you can pay your credit card and also you can buy these like verified collection like Bored Apes and stuff. Those are all on there. I think that's a good idea. I think if anything comes close to it, it will be like that. But like in terms of what OpenSea is, I don't think anything will be able to, as long as they like don't collapse completely. So like, yeah, the site lags sometimes, but most of the time it's actually pretty decent, like compared to what we've experienced with like Poloniex or like Kraken or
Kraken last week though, like yeah, we really struggled with exchanges, and like Kraken still does.
They just haven't changed.
I actually do have a. You what, Ledge? Sorry.
No, I'm just hating on Kraken. They haven't changed anything in all those years. Like they hire.
Did a full rebranding. What are you on about?
Jesse Powell outbids me on stuff I bid on, which is annoying. But then I found out he used to be an art collector and like curator before he joined Kraken.
Yeah, owned a gallery, didn't he?
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So you don't mind being outbid anymore.
Yeah.
He's in it for the art.
Good taste. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I want to ask before the final question is, nowadays on normie Twitter, you see these like tweets that have got like 100,000 retweets and 1 million likes that basically say NFTs killed my like school's dog or something, or they killed the climate in my hometown or whatever. And then there's like this weird explanation of how like crypto works, which is like always like slightly wrong, but like they've got a general idea of how proof of work works, but then they always think like incremental transactions increase the like proof of work. So like if you mint an extra NFT, it's somehow incremental energy is used, and they get really upset about it, and everyone like piles on and like joins in and goes, yeah, like this is so bad. And then someone replies to the thread, goes, I don't really understand NFTs, can you explain them? And the original author goes, yeah, I don't really get it either, but like here's what I think. And it's like, wait, what the fuck, your thread's gone viral, but you don't 100% get it. And then earlier in the episode you said, you know, the artists might hate them now, but they're all going to come around. Where do you think this why do you think this phenomenon happens, and how do you think it's solved?
So I've tweeted about it a few times. I don't know if I could word it as well as I've tweeted about it in the past, but like it's a sort of like groupthink thing. So like people they have this opinion, they see it on social media, and they're like, okay, that's my opinion now. So that's just how their brain works, and they kind of see you as like NFT artists are like people who are like the enemy in a way. Well, you shouldn't work like that at all. So like the NFT artists are like, they're seeing this opportunity to make money and they're going for it, and it's great for them. But like they're gatekeeping themselves and their friends from these great opportunities because they have this perception, which is wrong, that it's destroying the environment and stuff. And that you can have really long conversations about it, but generally it comes down to like they don't think it's useful in some way, or they think it upholds this system where like it's all the tokens are owned by like rich people, and they don't want to contribute to that or so on. It's like they're making themselves suffer in order to like save the environment in their mind, when they're not. That's not what reality is at all. Like they could be just taking the money and then doing more good with that, right? They could be supporting themselves, they could be supporting their friends, they could be like accelerating the growth of the industry and all the art and stuff. And it's like it's painful to see it happen, but eventually, especially when ETH goes to proof of stake, like eventually people they'll get tired of that, they'll come over to the platforms, or the platforms will be built into things they already use. And then eventually people who don't care about the environment so much, they'll all come on board anyway. And then eventually everyone will use it, and like it'll happen. Yeah.
Or crypto users like hounded out of communities. Like if you like, wait, you one of the planet killers? You can't integrate into real society, and we're like stuck using ETH layer 1 because we're kicked off of Visa.
Yeah, Tezos is really good. Socially, because it's gotten a lot of the artists who hate NFTs for the environmental reason to come over and do NFTs anyway. So John is a really good example because he's huge, and he has a lot of influence in like both spheres now. And yeah, it will spread slowly, but eventually it will happen.
Do you think that was a bit underhanded the way they went about that?
The tweeters,
Tezos.
the Tezos. Yeah,
because they like played into the.
They were quite desperate. So yeah, it was a bit underhanded, but like fair enough, whatever. Like at least they're doing something now.
Please buy my bag.
Yeah.
God,
that one's being painful. Yeah, because they did the ICO and everyone lost their passwords because they didn't tell anyone to save the password on the site. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people didn't save it, and like half the people who bought the ICO just lost all of their money because they can't access it. It was a mess from the start. Yeah.
All right. Do you still own your Grimes NFTs?
Yes,
Good. Me too. That's because there's no buyers.
I'm the buyer.
I'm the buyer.
Do you want to buy mine?
No.
Okay.
Depends on price.
Did she really get a boyfriend like immediately? Was that true? Or do you still have a chance?
They're semi-separated or something. I don't know.
They still live together.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. We need to get Grimes on a show, and then
And Path
just during the show, we'll
Pat, what would you
join
do
the call.
if she was on the call? What would you do?
Be hiding in the corner. It's terrifying.
All right. Ledger, do you want to ask the final question?
Yeah, so I think you've watched the show before, so we asked people
The
to
alpha.
deliver some alpha. See, the easiest one ever. If you could
just
please
be yourself. Yeah, that's it.
look at that. That was the fastest one ever. We can't even.
Wait, I didn't even hear it. What was it?
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Is that good advice?
Yeah.
What about if you suck?
Get better. Watch Up Only. You know, there's plenty of info here.
Now you're
Get
talking.
better that way.
All right. So, be yourself, unless you suck, in which case, be better. I like it.
Vote for Mela B. Go to Mela B's Twitter. Vote with your credit card. Help her out. Get her in the bowl so that she can dress up as a blueberry and say "Pump it, Loom Dart." Also, go to uponly.tv/FTX. Make a trade there today directly from one asset to the other. Earn yield on your tokens while you're at it. And of course, you can track your portfolio like you've known and loved. Go buy Pass Ringer too. He really wants a buyer on his ringer. The worst art on art blocks, as Cobie said, something along those lines.
Just don't even qualify as art.
Wow. I like it. I will not FUD the art. Thanks for being here. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See ya.